Most people do not fail at the finish line, they fail at the starting line. They fail in silence, in the privacy of their own thoughts, long before the world ever sees their attempt. Their hands have not trembled, their plans have not collapsed, their money has not run out, they have not been rejected, they have not been criticized, they have not even taken a step. And yet, they have already lost. Why? Because the battle was never in the marketplace.it, was never in the economy.it, was never in the competition. The battle was in the mind, and the mind made a decision before the body ever moved. Most people fail before they begin because they do not believe they are worthy of victory. They do not believe their ideas deserve oxygen. They do not believe their voice deserves to be heard. They do not believe their vision deserves to become real, and belief, real belief, is the ignition switch of destiny. Without it, the engine never turns over. History has never been shaped by the hesitant.it has never been written by the doubtful. When Thomas Edison stood in his workshop, surrounded by thousands of failed attempts at creating the light bulb, he was not gambling on luck. He was operating from certainty. When Henry Ford told engineers to build an engine they insisted was impossible, he was not hoping. He was commanding reality to rearrange itself around his conviction. When Andrew Carnegie built an empire of steel, he did not start with steel. He started with a belief so intense it bent circumstances to his will. Most people never reach that stage because they negotiate with doubt. They sit with their dreams at the table of fear and ask, is this practical? Is this realistic? What if I fail? What if they laugh? And the dream dies, not from attack, but from hesitation. You see, success is not born in comfort.it is born in decision. The moment you decide that your life will no longer be average, you separate yourself from the majority. But that decision demands something dangerous.it demands responsibility.it demands ownership.it demands that you stop blaming your parents, your background, the economy, the government, the timing, and accept a terrifying truth. Your life is the product of your dominant thoughts, and if those thoughts are small, your life will shrink to match them. Most people fail before they begin because they have been conditioned to shrink. They were taught to be realistic. They were taught not to dream too loudly. They were taught to color inside the lines. They were taught that security is safer than possibility.so. They build lives that look stable but feel empty. They collect paychecks but abandon purpose. They scroll endlessly through other people's victories while convincing themselves that greatness is reserved for someone else, but greatness has never been selective.it responds to clarity. Clarity is power. Clarity is rare, and that is why so few succeed. Clarity means you know exactly what you want.it is not a wish.it is not a vague hope.it is not I want to be rich or I want to be happy. Clarity is precise.it is sharp.it is detailed.it is a burning vision so vivid that you can feel it before you see it. Most people fail before they begin because they never define what winning means to them. So they drift, and drift is slow failure. When Walt Disney imagined a kingdom where imagination ruled, people mocked him, bankers rejected him. He was told he was naive, but he could see it. He could walk through it in his mind long before a single brick was laid. That is vision, and vision is the blueprint of achievement. If you cannot see it, you cannot build it. If you cannot believe it, you will never become it. Failure before beginning is a failure of imagination and courage combined.it is the quiet surrender to comfort disguised as practicality.it is choosing the safety of mediocrity over the risk of greatness. But here is what they never tell you. Mediocrity is far more dangerous than failure. Failure teaches. Mediocrity anesthetizes. Failure sharpens. Mediocrity dulls, failure humbles and then strengthens mediocrity, slowly erodes the soul until ambition feels childish, and dreams feel embarrassing and, once ambition dies, action dies, and once action dies, potential is buried alive, but inside you, there is something restless, there is something that refuses to settle, there is something that whispers, late at night, this is not all you are capable of. That voice is not arrogance.it, is design you were not built for, repetition you were not engineered for, smallness you were not given, imagination to live cautiously imagination, is evidence of capacity. The problem is not that most people lack talent, the problem is that they lack sustained belief. Belief is not emotion, belief is discipline, belief is returning to the vision when doubt tries to steal it, belief is holding the image steady when circumstances shake, belief is choosing thoughts that empower instead of weaken, and that choice must be made daily, because the world will constantly offer you reasons to shrink. There will always be critics, there will always be statistics, there will always be someone explaining why it cannot be done, but statistics have never stopped the obsessed. Consider Abraham Lincoln, defeated in business, defeated in elections, broken by personal tragedy, yet he refused to accept temporary defeat as permanent failure. He did not fail before he began. He failed repeatedly after beginning, and that is why he eventually prevailed. There is a difference. The person who fails before beginning never tests their strength. The person who fails after beginning builds it, and strength, once built, becomes unshakable. So, the question is not whether you will encounter obstacles, you will. The question is whether you will allow those imagined obstacles to stop you before they exist. That is the silent epidemic of unrealized potential, people fighting battles that have not happened, people quitting races they have not started, people mourning defeats that are still fiction, and all of it begins with thought. Thought becomes belief, belief becomes action, action becomes habit, habit becomes character, character becomes destiny. If you interrupt that chain at the level of thought, you interrupt destiny itself. That is why self-mastery is the foundation of achievement, not money, not connections, not luck. Self-mastery, the ability to command your inner dialogue, the ability to replace what if I fail with what if I succeed beyond measure, the ability to see obstacles as instructions rather than threats. Most people never cultivate this power. They allow their environment to dictate their expectations. They measure their possibilities by their past instead of their potential. But your past is not a prophecy. It is a lesson, and lessons are tools, not cages. You are not required to relive yesterday. You are required to learn from it and build beyond it. Your future does not ask where you came from. It asks what you believe now, and if you choose, truly choose, to believe that your life can expand beyond its current borders, you activate a force more powerful than circumstance. You activate focused intention. Intention directs attention. Attention directs energy. Energy, when concentrated, creates results. Scattered energy creates frustration. Focused energy creates momentum. And momentum, once gained, is nearly unstoppable, but it begins with a decision. A decision most people are too afraid to make. The decision to commit without guarantee. The decision to act without applause. The decision to pursue without permission. The decision to trust your vision even when no one else understands it. That is where failure before beginning ends, and that is where transformation begins.